Cicilian and the Kingdom of Lost Memories character list. Leon, the mysterious main character. His real name is unknown, and Leon is just his nickname. Forn, Leon's father, a guiding figure in his life. Link Knoll, one of Leon's loyal friends who assists him on his journey. Anwar, Leon's best friend, always by his side during their quests. Glonuk, a man with glowing green eyes, enigmatic and dangerous. Vince, another of Leon's friends with striking red eyes and black hair. Cicilian, an old, noble, and humble beggar in the kingdom. Unknown to most, Cicilian is 3/4 human and 1/4 demon, and his demonic blood makes him the best fighter in the kingdom. He is also the lightning alchemist, and his ultimate goal is to defeat every member of Vincent's family. Vincent 12th, a demon-human hybrid with gray hair and red eyes. He's a formidable fighter, almost matching Cicilian in skill. King Mortimer, the reigning king during the year 423 AD. Omega, Nokioa's battle-scarred horse with a mane like a lion's and charred black skin from numerous battles. Omega lost one of his eyes in the Battle of Anwar. Victreos, a legendary marksman who never misses a shot, known for his pinpoint accuracy, with every arrow striking his target's head. Amerios, a massive, majestic flying phoenix and companion to Victreos. Large enough to be ridden, he runs like the wind and flies like a bird. Aurorian, a powerful fighter related to Cicilian and Grandeleaf, known as the Moon Alchemist. Nokioa, a seasoned spearman who has dedicated his entire life to fighting. Grandeleaf, Aurorian's father, known for his gray hair, green eyes, and high-pitched voice. He is renowned for his magical abilities and holds the title of Light Alchemist. Gringote, a dwarf and close friend of Aurorian, also the Sun Alchemist. Neolith, a key spirit and fire alchemist. Anwar, Cicilian's best friend, lost in the Battle of Nelthua. Shandok, key spirit and earth alchemist. Shu, key spirit and water alchemist. Tingayan, key spirit and ice alchemist. Forhorn, key spirit and star alchemist. Yinche, key spirit and time alchemist, capable of rolling back time though not reversing it completely. Nogi, key spirit and life alchemist, with the ability to teleport himself and others. Nalisic, Cicilian's evil clone created when his pure goodness split from his evil side. He is the dark alchemist. Ganjak, the final enemy. Nark, the 7th enemy Cicilian faces. Nikon, the 6th enemy. Hero, the 5th enemy. Lackner, the 4th enemy. Oak, the 3rd enemy. Garn, the 2nd enemy. Hone, the 1st enemy. Cicilian battles. Lelfirio, a young fire magician with a secret, the youngest magician ever. Oirifel, an ice magician, brother of Lelfirio, and one of the greatest magicians ever. Vincent 13th, son of Vincent 12th, known as the Death Master. Tanamakuni, a master ninja who aids Cicilian. Firefox and Snow Fox, enemies sworn against the wolves of night and day. Inuk Komamal, a master ninja and brother of Tanamakuni, who also aids Cicilian. Wolf of Night and Wolf of Day, the mortal enemies of the fire and snow foxes. Legatros, one of Cicilian's enemies, an alchemist with a mysterious secret. Nogaius, another enemy of Cicilian, also an alchemist with a hidden secret. Garnus, Nivantru's twin brother, with a demon wing and long white hair, the opposite of Nivantru. Lin, a water dragon who became such after forgetting his name. He can only return to his original form when someone speaks his true name. Since, one of the hooded ones, determined to kill Cicilian. Mio, a loyal ally. Laponium, one of the hooded ones, also seeking Cicilian's death. Farnopia, another hooded one intent on destroying Cicilian. Valniok, the ultimate evil for 12 years until his younger brother overthrows him. Valderic, the new ultimate evil, fated to overthrow his brother Valniok in 2 years. No beast or human can currently rival him, but he remains weak for now. Yin, a life dragon. Yang, a death dragon. The keys in order of acquisition: 1, the key of fire; 2, the key of earth; 3, the key of water; 4, the key of ice; 5, the key of star; 6, the key of time; 7, the key of life, the ranking of evil, from most to least dangerous. 1, Vincent first 2, Nalisic 3, Ganjak 4, Narc 5, Nikon 6, Hero, 7. Lackner. 8. Oak. 9. Garn. 10. Hone alchemists: light alchemist, lightning alchemist, fire alchemist, water alchemist, time alchemist, life alchemist, dark alchemist, earth alchemist, ice alchemist, star alchemist, death alchemist, moon alchemist, sun alchemist, cloud alchemist, night alchemist, day alchemist. Key spirits: 1. Neolith, fire alchemist; 2. Shandok, earth alchemist; 3. Shu, water alchemist; 4. Tingine, ice alchemist; 5. Forehorn, star alchemist; 6. Yinsei, time alchemist; 7. Nogi, life alchemist. Family lineage: Gangar, Forn, Cicilian, Grandaleaf, Aurorian. Long ago, on the early morning of May 28, 641 AD, a short man named Gringot went about his day as a hard-working laborer. After a long and grueling day, he decided to rest under one of the last remaining trees, a towering survivor in a forest that was slowly being felled. As Gringot lay beneath its branches, he began to drift into a deep and much-needed sleep. The clouds, trees, and the dirt on his calloused hands all faded as his breathing slowed, carrying him into a dream. In his dream, it was as if a fog lifted, and Gringot found himself observing the world from above, witnessing days long gone by. He felt the wind rustling through the leaves, and as he looked down, he spotted a familiar figure, his friend Aurorian. Aurorian had encountered a strange man with red eyes and stringy gray hair, a creature unlike any Gringot had ever seen. The scene became clearer as Aurorian moved toward the stranger, and Gringot began to fade, leaving Aurorian to face an encounter he would not soon forget, a meeting that would become more significant as time passed. Aurorian had never seen anything like this strange being before. He instinctively reached for an arrow, positioning himself behind one of the large trees, carefully observing the situation to determine whether this creature was friend or foe. The man's name was Vincent, a name that would soon echo in Aurorian's mind as the two faced each other in battle. Vincent was a hybrid, 3/4 demon and 1/4 human, though many questioned whether he had any humanity left at all. He was a formidable warrior, undefeated since the dawn of time. But the winds of fate were changing, and Vincent would soon learn the names of Aurorian and his loyal companion Cicilian. Aurorian watched as Vincent moved silently through the forest, until, like a deer sensing danger, Vincent froze. Aurorian held his breath, not daring to make a sound. Suddenly, the sky erupted with a terrifying scream that tore through the trees. "He's coming! Vincent is coming!" Vincent's face twisted into an expression that was both proud and disgusted. With his hands trembling, Aurorian fired an arrow, only to miss as Vincent vanished without a trace. In another time, a boy named Leon awoke to his father's voice. "Wake up, my son. It's snowing." It had been generations since snow had fallen in West Nabeldale, and though Leon was 12, he had never experienced snow. His father, Forn, remembered the last time the town had seen snow, a time much different from the present. Eager to explore, Leon asked, "Can I go outside?" His father agreed, but his mother Isabel warned, "Dress warmly or you'll freeze." Leon hurried out the door in his excitement, forgetting his knife. West Nabeldale was a safe but strange place filled with mysteries, especially near the Forest of Lost Memories. As snow fell steadily, Leon noticed tracks appearing in the snow. Driven by curiosity, he followed them deep into the forest, unaware of how far he had wandered. When he realized he was lost, fear gripped him. Desperate, he spotted a figure in the distance. As he approached, the man introduced himself as Glanook, saying, "I've been waiting for you, Cicilian." Glanook was an eerie figure with black hair and hypnotizing green eyes. He spoke of a cave, planting the idea in Leon's mind that he was a great hunter in search of adventure. Under Glanook's influence, Leon followed the map he was given, feeling compelled to explore the cave. Despite a fleeting sense of doubt, he set off on the adventure, stopping only to gather his friends Anwar, Vince, and Linknoll. Together, they followed the map, encountering a steep hill and eventually reaching the cave. Inside, they marveled at the sunlight bouncing off the mirrored walls. But as they moved deeper, the floor collapsed beneath them. Water began to pour into the room, rising rapidly, forcing them to swim to safety. After narrowly escaping, They found themselves in a dry room that quickly refilled with water, only for the water to freeze around their feet. Once free from the ice, the group split up to explore different parts of the cave. As Leon and Anwar hit a dead end, Vince and Linknoll discovered the treasure. But Vince had other plans. Grabbing a sword with the power to teleport, he sent Linknoll to a place called the Broken Room in the future, before disappearing with all the treasure, leaving Leon and Anwar standing in disbelief. This was only the beginning of their journey, filled with unexpected challenges, betrayal, and a destiny that would unfold in ways they could never imagine. "Stop daydreaming, Cicilian!" shouted Forn. Cicilian's father had saved enough money to buy him a new sword, a fine weapon that Cicilian had long needed. What he didn't know at the time was that the sword held immense power, capable of creating a kingdom of memories among other mysterious abilities. King Mortimer had recently declared a great battle against the Kingdom of Death, and as soon as Cicilian heard of it, he knew he was destined to join the fight. Later that day, a man came running towards him, and before Cicilian could react, something happened that would be spoken of for centuries. The king had fallen. With his dying breath, King Mortimer uttered, "I give the kingdom to Cicilian." Shocked, Cicilian stood there, unable to comprehend why he, of all people, had been chosen. He had done nothing extraordinary, yet now he was king. Determined, Cicilian addressed his people. "We may be down thousands and we may not win, but if we stop now, we are certain to die. To battle, at least we can try." Then came a moment that would be remembered for generations. As Cicilian led his army, a mighty dragon emerged from his sword, killing countless enemies in an instant. The kingdom of death was defeated, and amidst the cries and cheers of victory, Cicilian knew this was the moment he had truly become a king. Soon after, Cicilian journeyed to a mountainous kingdom rich with rivers and peaks, but he had other matters on his mind. He needed to return to Aurorian. "What do you mean I'm related to Cicilian?" Aurorian asked in disbelief. Grandaleaf, Aurorian's father, nodded. "Yes, Cicilian is your grandfather. You will be king one day." Aurorian, still unsure of himself, asked, "But how would I rule the kingdom?" Grandaleaf was a wise and ancient man, standing short due to his age, now 145 years old, yet still one of the greatest magicians across land and sea. Only Vincent, who could alter his age from young to old at will, was older than him. Grandaleaf had seen many things in his years, but even he could not foresee the devastation that was to come. In the blink of an eye, Cicilian's kingdom, once the most bountiful land, was destroyed. The mountains had crumbled, rivers ran dry, and the sky turned black, with the moon hanging ominously close. "What have you done?" Cicilian demanded, turning to Vincent. "I did nothing but take all the memories," Vincent sneered. "How can this be called a kingdom?" As Vincent unleashed all the bad memories, everything began to fade. Cicilian felt himself slipping into unconsciousness, plagued by terrible dreams. In the dream, he found himself in the sea of nothingness, a desolate and deceptive place. He swam through black, rotting water, surrounded by a stench of despair. No matter how hard he tried, there was nothing. The sadness weighed on him until he could no longer bear it. Suddenly, he was in an even worse place, a room of endless broken glass. Each step shattered more glass, which immediately reassembled, only to break again. Over and over, Cicilian fell into an abyss of nothingness, realizing he was trapped in this nightmare. His thoughts drifted to Vincent. Where was he? But before he could make sense of it, Cicilian found himself in yet another world. This one was bizarre, with two red moons swirling together like a tornado. Was he losing his mind? Meanwhile, Aurorian and Grandaleaf confronted Vincent. The sight of him left everyone gasping in horror. "Back off!" Cicilian ordered, and with a piercing cry, Vincent vanished. Grandaleaf turned to Cicilian. "Is it really you, father?" he asked. Cicilian, confused, responded, "I do not know you, and why did you call me father?" "You're 200 years in the future," explained Grandaleaf. Then, turning to the young man beside him, he asked, "What's your name?" "Aurorian," he replied quickly. "Why do you ask?" "Aurorian. And you, old man, are you Grandaleaf?" "Yes," Grandaleaf confirmed. Suddenly they were transported to Kingandale, where they encountered Victreos, his friend Amerios, and Nokioa the spearman. "I have been watching you," said Victreos. "You, Cicilian, have killed many." Then, turning to the group, he added, "Now we must go to Vincent's castle and end this nightmare." With a swoosh, they were transported to a strange world under a red sky. Roots jutted out everywhere, and in the distance they saw a black castle. Inside, they were met by multiple versions of Vincent, old and young all the same. "It's you!" Cicilian shouted. "Soon you will be gone." But then something terrifying happened. "He's being taken over by the demon!" cried Grandaleaf. "What do you mean?" asked Ororion, Gringot, and Nokioa. Grandaleaf explained, "The curse began at his birth. He is becoming all good, and the demon is splitting from him. An evil Cicilian is being born, and Cicilian will become the light alchemist." A new evil had emerged, but with it a new light was discovered, and though the kingdom was saved, evil was far from defeated. It had simply escaped to another dimension. Now, 7 keys scattered across different realms held the power to either save the world or unleash darkness once again. "To Kingandale!" Cicilian declared. When they arrived, they found the city in ruins with a giant key in the center. Neolith, a key spirit, emerged from the sword, introducing himself as their guide through time and life. "One spirit will join you for each key," he said. As Vincent attacked South Kingandale, the group set sail on Neolith's boat, the Sun's Moon. They landed in Hinaku Wood, where Cicilian reunited with Anwar. Together they sought the second key, which was hidden in the Broken Room. However, a thief named Lackner, one of Vincent's minions, stole their compass, leaving them lost in the mysterious forest. But Neolith was confident they could find their way without it. After 5 long days, they reached Broken Port and eventually discovered the second key. But it was not so simple to retrieve. The key bore an inscription. Only one who defeats evil can break the key. Realizing they must defeat Nalasich, the group set off for the Optic Islands. Along the way, Cicilian learned that his sword, once a powerful weapon, was now useless against evil. As they neared the end of their journey, Anwar discovered that he was the new Cloud Alchemist, capable of wielding great power. Together, they forged the swords of light and darkness, combining their strength to kill evil once more. But even though evil had been vanquished, they knew this was only the beginning. More evils awaited in the shadows, and the battle between good and evil was far from over. They sealed the key and welcomed a new ally to their journey, Shandok, the Earth Alchemist. After some time, they were awakened by Shandok's voice. "Let's get going," he said. "We need to reach Nelthua, where the next key is located. I can teleport us to Hinaku Wood, but no further." In an instant, they found themselves back in the now-restored Hinaku Wood. In the distance, they heard a voice. "You have 9 more evils to destroy. Once they're gone, the world will be restored. The next one to defeat is Hone, who guards the key in Nelthua." "We need to start walking," Shandok urged. "It's 20 miles from here." They set off, trekking day and night through the forest, but Hone was already on the move, walking toward them. A day later, he attacked with a mighty blow, but Neolith and Shandok responded, "Time sometimes turns for the worse. Time, stop." Hone froze mid-attack, and Cicilian struck before he could react. Hone fell, dead. The voice returned. 8 more to destroy. One rules them all. Vincent is weakening, but the next battle will be 50 times harder. The next enemy is immune to alchemy and resides in the Awo Mountains. The group pressed on, reaching the next key, where they saw an inscription. "You must have killed 5 of the strong ones to claim this key." Cicilian read it aloud. 3 more to kill before we can get this key. It'll take 5 months to walk from place to place, and each battle will be more difficult. Shandok, now regaining a bit of his magic, said, "I might be able to teleport us one more time, but not far, maybe over the sea to the bridge." With a flash, they found themselves on top of the icy Awo Mountains, the coldest place in the world. They could feel the life draining from them in the freezing air. Then, in the moonlight, a cloaked figure appeared. "I've been waiting for you," the voice said. It was Garn, their next foe, much stronger than Hone. Before Cicilian could react, Garn slashed his face, leaving a deep wound. Cicilian knew he was going to die. The fight was too fast. He didn't even see the sword coming. In desperation, Cicilian called upon his sword, Dragon Bane. A dragon emerged, its body half black, half white, with red and blue eyes. Fire shot from its mouth, half blue, half red, and knocked Garn down, revealing his weakness. But Garn rose again. Cicilian, barely standing, called forth his remaining strength, and with a final slash, a blue light shot from the sky, enveloped in wings. He shouted, "Holy sentence!" Garn staggered, weakened, but still alive. Neolith quickly drew a star with 50 points in the dirt, unleashed a burst of fire, and Garn was no more. The voice whispered again, "Garn is dead. The next enemy will be 50 times stronger. You must go to Kingandale and find the power you need on the bridge." They trekked for 3 days until they found a small sword made of tin, glowing red in Aurorian's hands, yet as hard as diamond. They named it Red Flame. Aurorian, who had been mostly silent throughout the journey, finally spoke. "The next battle is in Kingandale." When they arrived at the city, only Cicilian and Aurorian were allowed in. They encountered Oak, and the battle began. Aurorian's sword burst into flames, and he leapt to Cicilian's defense, attacking Oak. The fight was intense, but with a final cry of "Holy Sentence," Cicilian brought Oak down. 2 hours later, Aurorian woke up. "Good job," Cicilian said. "You're improving. Was it the sword?" "I'm not sure," Aurorian replied, still dazed. "Where's the next battle?" Cicilian asked. "Nelthua," Neolith answered. "It's close." With Shandok's energy restored, they teleported to Nelthua, where they found the key guarded by Lake. As they prepared for battle, the voice returned. "Aurorian, I knight you hero of Kingandale. You are the strength they need. Lackner can only be defeated with all of you fighting at your best." The sky darkened as Lackner attacked, transforming into a dragon after absorbing their strikes. Cicilian summoned his dragon as well, and after a fierce clash, Lackner reverted to human form. Neolith finished him with a flood, and Lackner was no more. Cicilian sealed the key, and Zhu, the next key spirit, emerged, possessing the power to control day and night. The voice spoke again. "The next key is in Quest City, where you will face Hero and Nikan brothers, one of ice, one of fire. Both wield Dragon Bane." The group continued their journey, stopping briefly in Quest City to buy Gringo a new axe. Soon, they confronted the two dragons of fire and ice. The battle raged fiercely, but with their combined strength, they overcame the dragons and sealed the key. Tingain, the next spirit, appeared, granting them the ability to forge metal from water. "The next two keys are on Luwain Isle," the voice declared. "The time is nearly restored, but not yet perfect. You must hurry. Nogi is in danger, and Nilachich is only half dead. Free me from this key, or I will die." Shandok used his last bit of energy to teleport them to Luwain Isle, where they battled Nark and Ganjak, two weaker enemies guarding the keys. Cicilian's dragon quickly defeated them, but Cicilian fainted from exhaustion. When he awoke, two new spirits, Forehorn and Yinsei, urged them to save their brother, Nogi. Shandok, now weakened, tried to teleport them again, but collapsed. They raced against time, reaching the blackened key 3 hours later. Cicilian sealed it, freeing Nogi, but just as they thought they had succeeded, a terrible event occurred. Cicilian was dead. "Cicilian, are you okay?" Neolith cried, but there was no response. "I will avenge you," Neolith swore, unleashing the stars of Omega, a power only Vincent had wielded before. Evil was dead. "I have an idea," Yinsei said. "I can go back in time." In a flash, they returned 2 minutes before Cicilian's death, and Yinsei pushed him out of harm's way. Once again, Neolith summoned the stars of Omega, and evil was vanquished for good. Cicilian, once dead, now lived again. "We have all the keys," he declared. "It's time to open the door of time." In an instant, they stood before the door. The voice of Nogi echoed, "You have nearly defeated evil. One final battle awaits. Open the door, Cicilian." Cicilian unlocked the door, and the world transformed. The blackness was replaced by vibrant color, and the sea of sorrow became a shining golden bridge. They crossed it, heading toward Vincent's castle for the final battle. Inside the castle, Vincent awaited them. "I've been waiting for this moment. You think you've saved lives, but you've killed millions by altering time." You're not a hero, Cicilian. You're still ruled by the darkness within you. Born a demon, stay a demon. With that, Vincent called forth Nalisic, the demon that had been part of Cicilian since birth. Rise, Nalisic, Vincent commanded. Nalisic emerged from Cicilian's body, bringing with him the spirits of all those Cicilian had killed. But Cicilian stood firm. Light is stronger than dark. Dark may win some battles, but it has no hold over me. Die. Cicilian's dragon erupted from his sword, killing the 9 spirits, but Vincent remained unscathed. Is that all? Vincent mocked. You are weaker than I thought. All evil, join me. As Cicilian weakened, he let out a final desperate cry. Holy sentence. Evil will die, and you are evil. So die. With that, Vincent's power faded, and he was defeated. Time returned to its natural flow, and all those lost were restored. Cicilian was hailed as the hero of time, having conquered evil and restored balance to the world. Cicilian hadn't accomplished much lately. Suddenly, the voice that had been silent for so long spoke again. Hero, what happened? You are weak. You were once strong. There is still evil in the world, and no one is defeating it. You need to help now. Why? There are other heroes, Cicilian replied. It is you that I need. You are the only one who can do it. Vincent has a son. One of his minions sacrificed himself for Vincent, and now Vincent is back. There is even more evil. Cicilian, you were destined for this. Can't you see? Vincent is not the only threat anymore, but he is weak now. Born in evil, if you repent, your son will not be cursed. If you don't, your son will be 200 times more evil than you. Vincent waited for this day. His child is Vincent the 13th. Vincent the 12th was so strong he almost destroyed the earth. You are the only one who ever defeated a Vincent. That name is cursed. Help this world, Cicilian. You have 1 year to become a great swordsman again. Don't let me down. So the journey began. After defeating Vincent, Cicilian realized that perhaps destiny still had plans for him. It was raining that night. Vincent was 19, and in 1 year he would attempt to destroy the world. Cicilian disliked dwelling on such thoughts. He hated death, yet it always surrounded him. The voice spoke again. Cicilian, the past is being disrupted. King Mortimer needs to be saved, or you will never be born. You made him your grandfather when you went back. If you don't save him, the world will disappear. Vincent would have already destroyed it. I will teleport you, but you have only 1 chance. In an instant, Cicilian was there. We must attack now, said King Mortimer. Cicilian saw a black knight behind the king, sword aimed at him. Look out! Cicilian shouted, unleashing Dragonbane. The dragon emerged and slew millions. King Mortimer survived. The voice commended him. Good work. I have a couple of tasks for you before you begin your training. You must go into the past and learn Dragonbane, or you wouldn't have been able to defeat Vincent. First, go to Dragonborn and obtain a Dragonstone from the Wizard of Nif, Lacnoia. Then, you need to enter the cave in Dragonborn to acquire Holy Sentence. To obtain Holy Sentence, you must visit the Kingdom of Light and retrieve a holy statue from a spring there. Start with Dragonborn. Within seconds, he was in Dragonborn. Hello? Does anyone know where Lacnoia is? He called out. Everyone ignored him. Hello? Anyone? No response. Looks like I'll have to do this on my own, Cicilian sighed. How can I find him? Lacnoia? With a cloud of smoke, a wizard appeared. Hello, you called? Yes, my name is Cicilian, and are you really Cicilian? Lacnoia interrupted. It is an honor. I need a dragonstone, Cicilian continued. Oh, yes. Well, I don't have one. The only dragonstone is guarded by a dragon. Oh, well, where is this dragon? In the Dragonborn caves just north of here. Thanks, goodbye. He headed north. After 2 days, he reached the caves. Inside, a massive dragon awaited. It looked just like his own dragon. Then it attacked. The dragon roared, flames spewing from its mouth, its tail whipping through the air. Then Cicilian saw it, the stone, half white, half black, with red at its center. He sprinted toward it, but the dragon was too swift. It pinned him down. He could see the stone. He kicked it toward himself. Realizing Cicilian was escaping, the dragon lifted its tail to chase him. Cicilian tripped. His feet were stuck. The dragon closed in. At the last moment, Cicilian leapt behind a rock and hurled it into the dragon's mouth. The dragon fell, slain. The stone began to glow, and Cicilian felt a surge of strength. It shook and fused into his sword. He journeyed to the kingdom of light. It was raining. Night had fallen, but he pressed on. The next morning he arrived. Spotting the spring, he dove in. It seemed endless, and soon he couldn't breathe. He swam to the surface and found himself inside a massive dome. Sharks swam in a colossal aquarium. He didn't know what glass was. It hadn't been invented yet. Suddenly, a huge tentacle reached into the tank. An octopus! It attacked. He couldn't swim fast enough. At the bottom of the shark tank, he spotted a white statue. "Oh no," Cicilian muttered, swimming to the edge beneath the octopus and pulling himself up. He dove back in, racing to the bottom. Grabbing the white statue, he called out underwater for Nogi. He expelled his last breath and fainted. Fortunately, Nogi pulled him out just in time. "You need help. You need more people," Nogi said. "Take Lelfirio, Oirafel, Victrius, Yinsei, and Nokioa. I can teleport you to places. Vincent has only 9 months until he attacks. There's a war. You need to save as many people as possible. We have 790 soldiers. They have 592. It won't be very hard, but here's the tricky part. You can't kill anyone. You have to prevent killing and save as many on both sides. Now go." They arrived before the battle began. Perhaps they could save everyone. Cicilian had a time alchemist at his side. "Hey, Yinsei, can you stop time?" "Yep," Yinsei replied. "Do it, now." Time froze. Cicilian and Nogi moved everyone apart. Restart time. But somehow the soldiers resumed their positions. Cicilian kept intervening, trying everything he could. Then he saw a black knight relentlessly attempting to kill as many as possible. Cicilian charged at him. It reminded him of a moment from his past. Wait. He had seen someone running toward him in his first battle. He was confronting himself. Then he saw himself again beside King Mortimer and pushed himself away. He remembered that the first time he had killed one of the attackers targeting the king. By stepping in front of King Mortimer, he had caused the assailant he missed earlier to impale himself on the king's sword. Cicilian continued his rigorous training. 8 months had passed since his last battle. The others trained tirelessly too. None had slept for a week. "Cicilian, you've improved greatly," the voice said. "There's one more war in the future that you need to stop. There are 2 kings, one rich, one very poor. The rich king loves war. He is Vincent's grandson, Mohelian. The poor one is Lioneth II. He is your grandson. You need to save them both from the war threatening their country. Go now. 2 of the same blood will die if a hero of time does not intervene." In seconds, he was in Thief's Cavern. It was a quiet night. He saw that an assassination was planned. Across the road, a man was sneaking into a palace. Oddly, the palace had 2 towers and 2 windows. There were 2 castles. The assassin noticed Cicilian, then vanished, never to be seen again. 2 kings of the same blood will not die if a hero saves them. That will happen. Cicilian had been training intensely. Only 20 days remained until the battle. He struggled with sleeplessness, but knew he was destined. As he was training, a man attacked, a ninja. "Who are you?" Cicilian exclaimed moments before he drifted into a deep sleep. "The man who saved time will have a dream 1 week before the end of the world." It began. The dream of time. He stood on a lake, walking on water. Beside him were 5 men cloaked in darkness. One said, "It's time." Another added, "Cicilian, you can't hold on much longer. It's destroying you." Then another spoke, "Look." In the distance was a dark figure, barely visible. The figure said, "Time is more than it seems, isn't it, Cicilian?" Then the dream shifted. He saw a dark castle, Vincent's castle. Then it vanished, replaced by a night scene. Out of the pitch darkness, he saw a glowing rope and heard a voice. "Well done, Cicilian, well done." The rope lifted him up. Cicilian grasped it and was elevated. The rope of light, forged in the kingdom of light, reaches only into darkness and saves those who are pure of light. The dream finally ended. Cicilian had been asleep for a week. Now the time had come. They entered the castle, and Vincent wasted no time. "Die!" he shouted as he charged at Cicilian. "Death slash!" His sword ignited in flames as he plunged it deep into Cicilian, ripping through him. Death takes its toll, Vincent declared as Cicilian crumpled into a smoking heap on the ground. But Cicilian wasn't finished. Holy sentence! He cried, and a brilliant light tore through Vincent as if his body were made of water. Let light seep through you, called Victorious, adding, Holy arrow, strike! In unison, Oirafel and Lelfirio invoked their magic. Spring, summer, winter, fall, holy magic! Time turned, and at long last, Vincent's hold on the world was shattered. It was early winter, and snow had fallen all night. Cicilian, wake up! Shouted Yinche. You've been asleep for 5 days. You passed out right after Vincent died. And there's this ninja-looking guy who keeps knocking on the door. There he goes again. That's the 7th time. I'll get it this time, Cicilian groaned as he stumbled to the door. Finally, said the man outside. I've been trying for an hour. Cicilian, I was the one who attacked you before. I did it because Niventru was trying to kill you. Let me help you defeat him. This is my brother, Inukomamal, he added, introducing himself as Tanamakuni. He wants to help as well. Please, you must help us stop Niventru. Cicilian nodded. It's time to go, he said. Let's end this. Thank you, Tanamakuni replied. Early the next day, the group set off on their journey. They walked about 10 miles before resting, knowing the real battle would begin soon. That night, Oirafel stirred. It's time, he said. All right, let's go, Lelfirio agreed as the full moon lit the sky. 6 minutes left, Lelfirio noted, his voice tense with anticipation. Are you ready? Asked Oirafel. As ready as I'll ever be, Lelfirio replied. How long now? 3 minutes, Oirafel said. 1 minute left. Oirafel counted down. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Suddenly, their bodies twisted violently and they screamed as their forms shifted. When the transformation was complete, the two were no longer human. They had become foxes. One fox was wreathed in flames while the other glistened with frost. These were no ordinary creatures. By day, they were human, but by night, the foxes of fire and ice. Together in their human forms, they would change the world. But danger was close behind. The foxes were attacked by 2 wolves, one glowing with the brightness of the sun, the other bathed in the light of the moon. Natural enemies, the wolves sought to destroy the foxes at all costs. The moon shone down upon them as the sun and moon shared the sky, summoned by the wolves. The ground beneath them ignited with fire and ice as the fierce battle raged. Slowly, the wolves and foxes weakened, their transformations reversing as they fell back into human form. Wounded and exhausted, the part wolf, part human creatures retreated into the night, leaving the battlefield behind. The foxes, now back in their human form, stood victorious. But the war was far from over. They knew their true test had only just begun. Anwar and Leon sat in silence for a moment. Then, out of the shadows, Glanuk appeared. Vincent has already destroyed the past, Glanuk said gravely. And now all you can do is fix the future. I will send you 10 years forward in time. You must destroy Vincent and his family. He will have 1 son and 7 brothers. Cicilian, this journey will bring your current path to an end, but it will only be the beginning of many more. Before they could react, Cicilian and Anwar were suddenly wrapped in feathers. In an instant, they were transported to a vast desert wasteland. Armor covered their bodies, and they found themselves surrounded by thousands of soldiers. In the distance, at the heart of the desert, loomed a black castle. From its shadowy gates emerged a man with black hair and piercing red eyes. "Hello, Leon. It's been a long time," the man said with a smirk. "Vincent," Leon gasped. "Where is Linknoll?" "Dead," Vincent replied coldly. "And soon, you will be too." With that, Vincent descended from the sky, landing with a force that shook the ground. "Now!" shouted Anwar. "Attack Cicilian!" Cicilian moved swiftly, summoning his dragon from the sword. It roared to life and struck Vincent, sending him to the ground. "Now! Anwar!" Cicilian yelled. Anwar leapt into action, swinging his weapon toward Vincent. The soldiers rushed forward, attacking Vincent from all sides. It seemed over, but Vincent rose again. In the blink of an eye, "Stars of Omega, strike!" he cried. Anwar and Vincent vanished in a flash of power. Cicilian, heartbroken and furious, swore, "You've taken 2 of my friends. I swear I will avenge them." Meanwhile, Aurorian wandered through the eerie forest of lost memories. A man with black hair and red eyes passed him without a glance. "Hello?" Aurorian called, but the man walked straight into a swirling black portal. Without hesitation, Aurorian followed. Before him lay a bleak mountain range, and a dark castle loomed in the distance. Stone steps led to a massive wooden door with a skull-shaped metal knocker. Inside, the first thing Aurorian saw was a crumbling stone statue on a long table. Suddenly, a voice filled the room. 200 years ago, a man named Victoriac had a son, Clansky. From birth, Victoriac knew his son was special. At 15, Clansky lost his father, and 3 years later, his mother fell ill. Clansky tried everything to care for her, but nothing worked. After she died, he was left with nothing. Seeking power, Clansky became the first alchemist. His abilities were unmatched, but the one thing he couldn't control was fate. In his desperation, Clansky's body split in two, and evil was born. 5 years later, he sealed that evil within this very statue. For 175 years, the evil has been trapped here. But in 200 years, it will break free, and any evil ever defeated will be reborn 10 times stronger. At that moment, Vincent lunged at Aurorian. The following morning, Cicilian awoke early. Inukomamal and Tanamakuni were already up, discussing the looming threat. "I'm not sure we're strong enough," Tanamakuni admitted. "Neven True is stronger than 20 Vincents," he continued, and he helped build the cursed stone statue. In that instant, Cicilian tripped over a stone, crashing into a pile of leaves. "Who goes there? Friend or foe?" Inukomamal called out. "Friend," Cicilian replied, rising from the leaves. "Why didn't you tell anyone? If we don't stop Niventrue by the next full moon, they'll die." "I have a feeling we'll find him soon," Tanamakuni said cautiously. "We don't have much time," Inukomamal added. 1 week, that's all we have." "We leave tonight," said Yinche later that day. "When you hear my signal, come out of your tent." That night, Yinche lay awake, nerves keeping him on edge. This was their last chance. He heard Nogi's signal and sprang into action. "Come on," Nogi whispered. "I'm glad he released us." Moments later, they were gone. "We're here, Master," Nogi and Yinche reported. "Good," Niventrue responded. "Tonight we strike." "Where are they?" Nogi asked. "Dragonborn," Niventrue replied with a wicked grin. "The perfect place for our plan." Vincent struck swiftly. He was only a foot away from Aurorian when he drove his sword deep into Aurorian's body, slicing his legs in one swift motion. Aurorian awoke sometime later, lying in a cotton bed with silk blankets. A man approached him. "Hello, my name's Fargaron. What's yours?" the man asked. "Aurorian," he replied weakly. "Can you stand?" Fargaron asked. "Barely," Aurorian groaned as he struggled to rise but fell back down. Fargaron pulled a small, round stone from his pocket. Inside was a purple liquid. He poured 2 drops onto Aurorian's wounds. It felt warm at first, but then ice-cold as it touched the blood. Slowly, Aurorian's blood transformed into new skin. "Try standing now," Fargaron said. Aurorian rose again, this time without pain. He stood firm, his injuries healed. The battle was not over yet. "We have to kill him in his sleep. That's our only chance," Niventrue whispered, unsheathing his sword. "Triple madness!" he screamed, bringing the blade down with brutal force. "Think again," Cicilian growled. Quick as lightning, he pulled a knife from his pocket, blocking Nivantrue's strike with the flat side of the blade. Cicilian leapt forward, closing the distance between them, and pressed the knife to Nivantrue's throat. "What's stopping me from ending you right here?" Cicilian asked coldly. "Because it wouldn't be fair," Cicilian answered his own question, pulling back. He looked at Nogi and Yinse. "Why? Why betray me?" he demanded, but neither of them spoke. With a heavy sigh, Cicilian threw Niventrue's sword back to him. "Light of the sacred sword, strike!" An orb of light burst into existence, hurtling toward Niventrue and exploding upon contact. "Light means nothing. Open your eyes to the darkness," Niventrue roared, charging at Cicilian. His sword suddenly exploded, freezing in place as he plunged it deep into Cicilian's skin. With immense effort, Cicilian retaliated, stabbing Niventrue, who slowly faded into the shadows. Nokioa, Anwar, and Victorious stepped forward. "Goodbye, Cicilian. Thank you," they said, their voices heavy with sadness, and then they vanished. Yinsei and Nogi, no longer under Niventru's control, lowered their heads in shame. "I think we should go our separate ways," Nogi murmured. "Goodbye," Yinsei echoed, their voices filled with regret as they turned to leave. The wind howled as Niventru's lifeless body lay on the ground. The mountains groaned as if mourning his death. Suddenly a familiar voice rang out. "Cicilian? Linknoll? I thought you were dead," Cicilian replied in shock. "I've been looking for you. Vincent tried to kill me, but I escaped. I've been traveling by airship. Want to come with me? I know how to fly." "Sure." "What powers the airships these days?" Cicilian asked. "Mist," Linknoll replied. "We gather it from the Owo Mountains." Later, Linknoll struggled to untie himself from ropes that bound him. In the distance, he heard a scream and saw a burst of color. "Well done, Cicilian," Linknoll muttered to himself, the rope slipping free. He woke up inside an airship, disoriented. "Hello? Where am I?" "You're in Blue's plane," a voice answered. "Anwar?" Linknoll called out. "Yes, it's me. We've got a lot to catch up on." "Come on, I think he's in the broken room," Anwar said. "Good, let's go. I found an airship." As the airship headed west, the cold wind sliced through the trees. In the distance, they spotted a red dot among the leaves, an enemy airship. Everything became a blur, and Linknoll wasn't seen for 3 years. The wind was perfect for flight, gently pushing the leaves of summer. "Where to?" Ororion asked. "To kill Garnus," Linknoll replied. "Garnus the Great?" Tanamakuni asked, surprised. "Yes," Linknoll answered. "Why do you want to kill him?" Cicilian inquired. "He killed my family." "Oh," Cicilian muttered. "Where is he?" "The Forest of Nif," Linknoll responded. "We must hurry." They soared into the sky in their airship, the night long and grueling. In the distance, they spotted a white and blue figure. It was Lin, the sacred water dragon, known to strike fear into the heart of evil. Linknoll was jolted awake by a harsh voice. "Wake up," it demanded. "Who are you?" Linknoll asked groggily. "Get up," the voice barked, kicking him in the side. "It's time." "Time for what?" Linknoll groaned. "Don't play dumb with me. Get up." The figure grabbed Linknoll by the hair and yanked him to his feet. "Now, work," the voice commanded, throwing a broom into his hands. Later, Linknoll shared a story. "I've got many stories to tell, like the tale of the Ring of Time and the Ring of Memories. Long ago, there was a master of rings. A man came to him asking for 2 rings, one to seal memories and one to travel through time. He promised to pay 200 gold. The ringmaster worked tirelessly. After 2 weeks, he finally succeeded. The man came, eager to collect the rings. That man was Garnus, Vincent's brother. Now he seeks revenge against the one who has slain so many of his family, Cicilian. "Garnus, are we ready?" Glonok's voice called out. "You have both the Ring of Time and the Ring of Memories. You can travel through time and seal memories. Go now, Garnus. Don't wait any longer. If we defeat Cicilian, you can revive your brothers." "Don't try to control me, Glonok. You know that won't work. You may not come with me," Garnus replied coldly. The night grew long and tense, Cicilian lying awake, unable to sleep. The ground began to shake and the air became unnaturally light. Every cloud in the sky vanished except for one dark spot, which grew closer and closer. From the darkness, a familiar figure emerged, Niventru. "Darkness will live, Cicilian. I am alive. This time I know your weaknesses. Die." Niventru sneered as shadows rushed toward Cicilian. Cicilian grabbed his sword. "In the name of Forn, the great swordsman of Nelthua, die, Earth fundamentals!" The ground surged forward but did nothing to the shadows. Niventru laughed. "You fool! Alchemy can't destroy darkness!" He raised his hand, summoning a sword from his own body. "Shadow sword, make me invisible." Niventru vanished into the shadows. Cicilian quickly drew a lightning mark on the ground. "Thunder, lightning, show me the way, show me the heavens." Lightning flashed across the sky, illuminating brief glimpses of Niventru. Niventru's voice echoed through the air. "Bionads, Illusions. Split up my body into 20 with only one real one. In an instant, Nivantru's form split into 20 figures, each one advancing on Cicilian. They closed in, their swords ablaze, each one growing impossibly large. With 20 voices in unison, they roared, "Bloody blade!" The fiery blades descended on Cicilian. Cicilian wasn't sure how he survived the onslaught. When he opened his eyes, Nivantru's lifeless body lay beside him. The battle was finally over. Nivantru was dead. Glonuk fumed as he paced back and forth, gripping his sword tightly. "Why should he decide where I go? I won't let him control me any longer," he growled. In a fit of fury, he stormed out, the cold winter air biting at his skin as he ran. The lakes were frozen and the skies were heavy with snow. "Cicilian doesn't stand a chance against me," Glonuk muttered to himself with a wicked grin. "I can make him do whatever I want. He's close now. I can feel it." After 2 hours of relentless pursuit, Glonuk finally spotted Cicilian in the distance, unsheathing his sword as he closed the gap. "Remember me?" Glonuk sneered, standing just a yard away. Cicilian turned, his eyes widening in disbelief. "I'll even give you a hint for the battle," Glonuk taunted. "Not that it'll help you much. Empty your mind, think of nothing but the fight. Maybe then you'll stand a chance." "You don't want to kill me. We're friends, Cicilian," Glonuk said, attempting to weave his control. Cicilian hesitated for a moment, falling under the influence of Glonuk's power. "I will not be controlled anymore," Cicilian roared, breaking free. He charged at Glonuk with renewed determination. "Forgotten control!" Cicilian shouted as he lunged forward. "Good, but not good enough," Glonuk mocked, regaining control over Cicilian once more. "Kill each other now," he commanded. "No!" Cicilian cried out, struggling against the influence. Both Cicilian and Aurorian charged at Glonuk, their voices echoing in unison. "Die!" They raised their swords, twin slash, as Cicilian's blade struck Glonuk in the chest. Glonuk crumpled to the ground, dead. When word reached Garnus that Glonuk had been slain, a furious roar erupted from his lips. "He's dead!" Garnus bellowed. "My strongest soldier gone! I have no one left." "That's not true, master," one of his followers muttered. Garnus, seething with rage, raised his sword to the sky. "Cicilian, you will not kill me like you did my brothers. I'll be the one to end you." He gathered his forces. "We'll attack at broad daylight. They'll never expect it. It will be 600 against 500. They don't stand a chance." As the battle approached, Garnus prepared his army. "To victory!" he shouted. The palace guard nodded. "The invasion begins in 1 hour," they confirmed. Time passed quickly, and Garnus's forces moved out. Cicilian, still nursing wounds from his last battle, saw the approaching army. "The wars never stop, do they?" Aurorian said, weary from endless fighting. "Tanamakuni, Inuk use your knives. Anwar, Linknol, use your swords. Aurorian, come with me, use your alchemy," Cicilian commanded. The battle began in earnest. Dragonbane was unleashed, and Cicilian's dragon decimated half the enemy force. Hours later, only one remained, Garnus. Clapping slowly, Garnus stepped forward. "I didn't expect you to be this strong, Cicilian. I'm impressed." But Cicilian and his companions were exhausted, barely able to lift their swords. Suddenly, Lin, the mighty water dragon, descended from the sky. "I am here to help you, Cicilian. I can guide you through this world with great speed," Lin declared. "Glonuk?" Garnus gasped in disbelief. "Lin, you died centuries ago in the Battle of Nelthua." "I am ready, Garnus," Lin said calmly. "Let's end this." Garnus's sword lit up with fiery colors, red, orange, blue, and finally white, as he summoned the power of killing the rain. The clouds turned into swords, raining down upon Cicilian and his party. Swords slashed through them, but somehow they survived. "Is that all you've got, Cicilian?" Garnus taunted. He summoned snow, covering the ground. Suddenly, a hand reached from beneath the earth. "Garnus sent me to drag you to where you truly belong," the voice hissed, but the hand turned toward Garnus instead. "He is more evil than you will ever be," the voice said. As Garnus was pulled into the ground, Cicilian's mind raced. "Saving sin!" Cicilian cried, rushing forward to stop the hand. The heavens echoed, Well done, Cicilian! With all his might, Cicilian attacked the hand, saving Garnus from the dark fate. Garnus, stunned, looked at Cicilian. You saved me, after everything. Thank you, Cicilian, he whispered as he was lifted into the skies. That night, Cicilian dreamed again. He found himself standing on a lake, surrounded by 5 cloaked figures. It's time, one said. Cicilian, you can't hold on much longer, warned another. From the distance, a dark figure emerged. Vincent, half shrouded in darkness, his voice boomed. Time is not what it seems, Cicilian. If you don't act now, the world will crumble. The time to strike is now. The dream shifted to Vincent's dark castle. From the shadows, a rope descended. A voice echoed, Well done, Cicilian, as the glowing rope lifted him up. I have one more tale to tell, Cicilian thought. A story of the 9 evils of Earth. Long ago, the god of the earth created 9 powerful skills and split the world's evil into 9 bodies, creating the 9 evils of Earth. Only one human, Cicilian, was destined to defeat them all, gaining their souls and abilities. When Cicilian defeats the 9, the gate to the heavens will open, and the ultimate evil, Valniok the Valiant, will fall. Cicilian's journey was far from over, but for now he had earned a moment of peace. Linknoll, limping toward his family, said, Thanks to you, my village is saved. I'll leave you now, Cicilian. As a token of my gratitude, take my airship, Valiant. Use her well. He waved farewell as Cicilian turned to his companions. Let's go, men. We have much ahead of us, Cicilian said. Where to next? Asked Tanamakuni. Nif Forest, Inuk Komamal answered. The following day they reached the forest. As they searched for a Alobi, they encountered an elf named Lananon, who directed them toward their target. In the distance, a Alobi stood, his eyes locking onto Cicilian and the group. He carried not a sword, but a staff. My family were all alchemists, but they chose swords over magic, a Alobi shouted. The sky seemed to speak. There is more evil in the world now. The ultimate evil has yet to be revealed. Volderic is his name, and the road to the underworld is now open. Cicilian felt a surge of power. The battle may be long and weary, but we have a chance to win the wars of the ages, he declared, charging at Alobi. The two clashed, but Alobi proved too strong. You are not strong enough, Cicilian, Alobi taunted, striking him down before disappearing into the shadows. The battle was not over yet, but Cicilian knew that the hardest fights were still to come. The time this will take is more than we have, Cicilian, Tanamakuni said, his voice tense with urgency. We can't train. There's just not enough time. We need more people. Like who? Cicilian asked. Tanamakuni paused, thinking. Maybe Lananon. Cicilian's eyes lit up. Yes, Lananon. He's perfect. Without hesitation, Cicilian turned to the group. We're heading to Nif Forest to bring in another ally, Lananon, the elf. He'll be a great help. With that, they rushed to the airship and took off. How long will it take? Asked Lin. 9 hours, Cicilian replied. The day felt endless, and the cold nights crept in, but eventually they arrived at Nif Forest the next morning. Hurry, urged Tanamakuni as they trekked deeper into the woods. Soon enough, they found him. Welcome back, Lananon said, as if expecting them. Lananon, will you join us? Cicilian asked. Yes, Lananon replied. I know you don't have much time. Let's go. I also have a power you should know about. I can move and control things around me with my harp. That'll be a huge help, Cicilian said. Come on. Later that day, they encountered a familiar face. Alobi. I've been waiting for you, Alobi said, drawing his sword. Let's begin. With a swift motion, Alobi attacked. Disaster moment! He shouted, his sword crashing toward Cicilian, who barely blocked it in time. Lananon, standing behind Alobi, strummed his harp, freezing time. Now's your chance, he called. The group rushed Alobi, slashing with all their strength. As Alobi fell, his final words echoed, Saving sin! His spirit rose to the heavens. Thank you, Cicilian, Alobi's voice said from above, for raising me to the heavens. I will help you reach Lapopia, and my brothers will too. Together, we will help you defeat the ultimate evil. But beware, the evil in this world is not the end. Once you destroy it, there is more evil in different worlds. You will face Lapopia and the underworld. Only then will your journey be complete. With those words, Cicilian felt a surge of strength before falling asleep, the cold night renewing him for the trials ahead. That night, Cicilian had a dream. He was alone, standing on a lake, surrounded by 6 men cloaked in darkness. "It's time," one of them said. "Cicilian, you can't hold on much longer. This is destroying you," said another, who revealed himself to be Valderic. Then a voice added, "Look." It was Vincent, half shrouded in shadow. "Time is more than it appears, Cicilian." "This is what the world will become if you do not act," Vincent said. The dream shifted to a dark castle, Vincent's castle. Cicilian saw a glowing rope and heard a voice say, "Well done, Cicilian, well done." The rope lifted him up into the sky. Suddenly, Cicilian woke to screaming. "Where is Cicilian?" shouted Lananen, normally calm but now frantic. "Here he is," called Tanamokuni. Cicilian sat up, shaken. "I was in a dream," he stammered. "Stop with this nonsense. He's gone insane," Inukomamal muttered. "No, I was really in a dream," Cicilian insisted. "Vincent was there, and he showed me what the world would look like if we don't save it. I couldn't see their faces, but men spoke of someone being killed for holding on to something. It's still unclear." That night, Cicilian dreamt again. This time, the dream was wordless. He followed a man through a forest until they walked on water, heading toward a tall, dark room. The broken room, he realized. Though the meaning eluded him, Cicilian knew the room held the answers. The next day began slowly, the darkness still lingering. "Time to wake up," Cicilian said, knowing their journey was far from over. They walked, unsure of how many days or months had passed since the start of their quest. "We still have Lapopia and the underworld to face," Cicilian thought. As they pressed on, he spotted a man with blood-red eyes staring at him from a distance. "He's a summoner," Cicilian whispered in dread. The summoner raised his staff, muttering words Cicilian couldn't understand. Something eerie and barely visible shot from the staff, and Cicilian was thrown to the ground. The summoner's voice taunted him, "You worthless human, you still have much work to do." Then he vanished. Cicilian woke up later to find only Lananen by his side. "Where are the others?" Cicilian asked, panicking. "Since took them, all of them," Lananen replied gravely. "How can we beat him with just the 2 of us?" Cicilian groaned. "You're right," Lananen agreed. "We'll start tomorrow." They slept, knowing their journey ahead would be grueling. The next morning, they set out early, pushing through exhaustion. "Do you know where they went?" Cicilian asked. "East," Lananen replied. "If we don't stop, we might catch them in a week." By day 5, Cicilian could barely keep his eyes open. "I need to sleep," he mumbled. "One more day," Lananen urged. The dream felt like only 5 seconds. When Cicilian awoke, Lananen was already up. "Time to go," he said. "We're falling behind." They resumed their journey. As they walked, a riddle echoed around them. "Look within and see true light. Look within shadows and see darkness." "Stop," Cicilian said. "Did you hear that?" "Yes," Lananen replied. "I thought it was my imagination." "What could it mean?" Cicilian wondered aloud. "It sounds incomplete." "Maybe we'll find the rest somewhere else," Lananen suggested. They continued, but soon came upon a stone inscribed with ancient symbols. Cicilian translated, "Slowly you will walk closer and closer to your goal. Look around, and you will find what you seek." "I think the riddles are connected," Cicilian realized. "Yes," Lananen agreed. "It's pointing us somewhere." "The broken room," Cicilian whispered. "Let's go by boat. It'll be quicker," Lananen suggested. And so they set off, knowing that their journey was far from over, but that they were one step closer to the final answers. "Lokoitin anse trieligit lokoitin siados anse darkness, slolps psu oil oalk chloser and chloser to psurgual, lok arund and psu oil find oyat psu seek, Weeks passed, and the storms grew fiercer. The winds howled as they tore through rivers, seas, and oceans, battering their ship with relentless fury. Cicilian and Lananon could hardly believe they survived, watching as the sails shredded like paper and the ship's wood splintered as if struck by a petulant child's rage. Cicilian woke amidst the wreckage, his boat shattered around him, Lananon lying unconscious a few feet away. Cicilian hurried to his companion, shaking him awake. After they gathered what food they could salvage, they began their trek once more. Mile after mile they pressed on until they finally reached the place they sought, the broken room. "Let's see." "Look within," Cicilian muttered. Then into the darkness. "But we're already in the darkness, aren't we?" They thought deeply for a long time, struggling to focus. Then suddenly a door creaked open in the distance. Footsteps echoed as a figure slowly approached, clapping mockingly. "Well done, Cicilian," the figure said, his voice cold. "You're ready now, but don't think it will be easy. Prepare for the fight of your life. If you win, I'll return your friends. If you lose, I take Lananon." The man was Cince, and with a roar, he summoned a monstrous beast from the ground. "Caramonstera!" he shouted, and a massive creature emerged, spewing water with such force that Cicilian and Lananon were nearly swept away. "Was I wrong, Cicilian?" Cince taunted, charging toward him with his sword drawn. He was an expert swordsman, and soon Cicilian found himself on the ground, Cince's blade at his throat. In the blink of an eye, Cicilian rolled away, dodging the deadly strike. He leaped up and attacked with his sword, shouting, "Silent voice!" A black and red creature emerged from his blade, whispering words only Cince could hear as it attacked. "I win," Cicilian declared, standing tall. Cince, defeated, grimaced. "Fine, you win. Take your pitiful army. Why won't you kill me?" "You're free to go," Cicilian replied calmly, and with that, he sealed Cince into his sword, ending the battle. As the dust settled, a familiar voice called out, "Cicilian!" It was Lin, the water dragon. Beside him were two other dragons. "This is Yin, the life dragon, and Yang, the darkness dragon. I believe they can help us." "Good," Cicilian said. "We still have a long journey ahead." The days grew monotonous. Though their mission was vital, Cicilian began feeling the weight of his repetitive routine. As exciting as their quest was, something gnawed at him, a sense that he was meant for something different. He spent the day lost in thought, staring at the clouds until he finally slipped into a deep, much-needed sleep. The next day arrived too quickly, and it felt as though he had slept only minutes. But the journey called. Mio stared at the night sky, watching a star shoot across it. He made a silent wish and soon drifted into a deep slumber. When he awoke, he found a letter written in delicate calligraphy. The words struck him like a blade. "Dear Mio Mantire, as I write this, I struggle to find the right words, but I must tell you the truth. A man named Cicilian murdered your family. If you wish to protect the remaining members, you must guard them with your life. I am deeply sorry for your loss. Sincerely, Ewan Catraver Mio wept, his heart heavy with grief." The next morning, Cicilian awoke to find a stranger crouched over him. It was Mio. "You have something I want," Mio hissed. "Your life, Cicilian. You killed my family. Why?" Mio was overcome with fury, but as he attacked, Cicilian saw through his rage. Though Mio's skill was impressive, he fought out of madness and sorrow, while Cicilian fought with purpose and love. The battle ended quickly. Cicilian had Mio cornered against a tree. "Please," Mio sobbed, "don't kill me or my family. Do you know what they've done? They've killed millions, but I believe you're different. What is your name?" "Mio," he replied. "I'm sorry for what I've done," Cicilian said softly, sharing his story with Mio. "I didn't know," Mio admitted, his voice trembling. "Cicilian, can I join you? I can't promise to kill my brothers, but I can help you with something important. I can give you a spell. It's a family secret. The key to opening Valniok's castle, Castle Ultimaga. I grant you Flowing River." There was a moment of silence before Cicilian spoke again. "Who is Valniok?" "He is the ultimate evil," Mio explained. one of 5 master alchemists. All of them started good but turned evil. Valderic, Valnoik, Klansky, Lananon, and Transankiom. You'll have to face Valderic and Valnoik one day. Far away, Laponium sat at his desk, gazing at a screen. He knows, Laponium said darkly. What a foolish child, Farnopius sneered. He'll die by his own brother's hand. They laughed, the sound echoing through the room. Suddenly, Laponium found Cicilian. So easy to find, he muttered. Only an hour away. He started his march toward the final battle. The fight with Laponium was brutal. Cicilian and Mio charged at him while their injured companions rested back at the tents. But then something Cicilian hadn't anticipated happened. Mio fell, struck down by his own brother. Fueled by rage, Cicilian fought harder. "Flowing river!" he screamed, summoning torrents of water from the sky. He ran at Laponium, attacking with all his might until finally Laponium lay dead. Cicilian carried Mio's body back to camp, his heart heavy. "One of ours has died today," he told the others as they gathered to bury him. The earth covered Mio, sealing him forever beneath the soil. "We need to take a journey," Cicilian said. "We need all the help we can get for the battles ahead. Our destination is the Calmerian Master. He controls the monsters, and he may allow us to use them in battle." The journey was long, but eventually they reached Calmerian City. Standing before the Calmerian king, Cicilian asked for his aid. "Take my animals," the king said, his deep voice resonating. "Now go and claim them." And so Cicilian and his companions gathered their forces, knowing the greatest battle still lay ahead. There are 3 masters, the Elven Master, the Calmerian Master, and the Gnomish Master. Each rules vast kingdoms with many soldiers. Cicilian and his companions needed to meet with the Elven and Gnomish Masters to secure their armies for the coming battle. However, there was a problem. The Elven Master spoke Elven, and the Gnomish Master spoke Gnomish. Elven was a language known only by royalty, and Gnomish was a dead language entirely, only known by ancient scholars. "I'm royalty," Cicilian admitted, "and I don't even know Elven. We need a translator." Lananon, an elf in their party, nodded slowly. "I know very little Elven. These days, most people speak Calsolvian or English. Only the king and queen still know Elven. As for Gnomish, well, you're right, it's a dead language." Suddenly, a voice called from the crowd. "Cicilian, my name is Naramesh, and I know both Elven and Gnomish. If you teach me Calsolvian, I will gladly serve as your translator." Relieved, Cicilian nodded. "Thank you, Naramesh. We'll begin immediately." Naramesh, a young elf, spent the next week learning Calsolvian from Cicilian, his progress rapid. Soon, they arrived at the Elven King's court, a grand hall of wisdom and history. The ancient king, his face lined with centuries of life, regarded them with a deep voice. Naramesh stepped forward and spoke in Elven, translating Cicilian's request. "We seek your permission to lead your soldiers into battle against Valniok." The Elven King pondered the request and finally spoke. "You have learned a language long dead for over 5,000 years, he said. "For that, I grant you my soldiers. Take them wherever they are needed." The next challenge would be the Gnomish King. "The Gnomish King will be more difficult," Cicilian warned. "He's not like the others. He rules through power and fear. To even get an audience with him, we must first bring him a holy stone from the river of Medwall." "Is that in Segerin?" Aurorian asked. "No," Cicilian replied. "It's in Valley Hall. I have a map. I was there once, long ago." The journey to Valley Hall would take 2 months on foot. Despite the grumbling from their party, including a rather vocal pig, they set off across rivers, mountains, and vast plains. After 2.5 months of relentless travel, they finally arrived at the site. The stone was hidden in a statue, and after retrieving it, Cicilian turned to the pig and said, "Don't worry, we're flying back on dragons." The pig snorted in shock and promptly fainted. When it awoke, they all mounted the dragons and flew to the Gnomish King's throne. Upon their arrival, they found the Gnomish King barely alive, but he whispered something to Cicilian. Naramesh translated, Take my soldiers back to where your journey began and pass through time. Cicilian led his group to the broken room where his journey had first begun. As they entered, Cicilian spotted a sword lying on the ground. Then everything went black. When he awoke, everyone around him was dead except for a few, Aurorian, Lananen, Tanamakuni, and the pig. The rest had fallen in battle, Gringot, Yin, Yang, Lin, and Grandaleaf. Blood-stained writing on the wall read, "I care nothing for lives, can you see? Words cannot describe how easy it will be to kill you." It was signed Farnopia. Cicilian's few remaining soldiers called out to him, "Over here." The pig, now fully awake, released a loud snort. "My name's Kamakamaka but you can call me Pig." "Great," Cicilian muttered. "We're down to 5 fighters, 2 alchemists, 3 soldiers, and a pig." They needed more strength. Aurorian and Cicilian would train in alchemy, while Tanamakuni and Inukamal would focus on speed and strength. Pig, of course, would learn sword fighting. Training began immediately. Cicilian taught Aurorian the art of lightning alchemy, while Aurorian in turn taught Cicilian moon alchemy. They practiced tirelessly, mastering each other's abilities over the course of several intense days. Meanwhile, Pig improved his sword skills. "You're getting better," Inukamal said, watching Pig's progress. "Aye, you think so?" Pig asked. "Your side stab still needs work," Tanamakuni added. Weeks passed, and finally they were ready. Just as they prepared to leave, a man emerged from the fog. "Hello," he said. "My name is Hangobi, and I bring disturbing news. Cicilian, you're not really here. You're all in a coma." Stunned, Cicilian listened as Hangobi revealed the truth. Their real names were different, and they were on the run from Satan himself. If they failed, they would all be dragged to the underworld. Farnopia awaited them at the gates of Castle Ultimaga. "I have been expecting you," he said coldly. "My brothers were weak, but I will not fall so easily. Die, Cicilian." The battle was fierce. Farnopia's sword turned blue, then red as it clashed with Cicilian's. But in the end, Cicilian overpowered him, driving his blade into Farnopia's heart. As Farnopia died, a stone emerged from his broken sword, inscribed with the words, "Once alive and once dead." The sky changed, and a voice whispered on the wind, "You have gained the skill of the wind. Move with the wind." The heavens opened, revealing a golden path that led Cicilian and his companions to Mother Earth herself. She entrusted them with the key to the secret city of Lapopia, and they opened the door to the land of life and death. Suddenly, a booming voice filled the air. "I am Valniok, your next opponent. Fear me, Cicilian, for I bring your doom." Valniok appeared, his sword gleaming, and a dragon emerged from his blade. Cicilian summoned his own dragon, and the two clashed in a fierce battle. In the end, Cicilian's dragon struck first, slaying the copy of Valniok, but Valniok's voice echoed ominously. "You have not defeated the real Valniok, but you now possess the power of darkness, controlled chaos." As Cicilian stood victorious, he suddenly remembered his companions, Neolith, the key spirits, and all those who had once fought beside him, but their memories were slipping away. "Aurorian, do you remember the key spirits?" Cicilian asked. "No," Aurorian replied, confused. "I don't know what you're talking about." Realization dawned on Cicilian. "Time bandits. They've altered the flow of time." The next morning, Cicilian and Pig set off on their final journey. As they approached the final battle with Valderic, Cicilian knew this would be the fight to end all fights. But as Valderic's sword struck, Cicilian fell. His arm was severed, blood pouring from his wounds. Yet, despite the agony, he pressed on, summoning the last of his strength to call forth Dragonbane. The dragon roared to life, and in a final, desperate attack, Cicilian decapitated Valderic. Suddenly, Cicilian heard voices. "Daddy! Daddy, wake up!" He opened his eyes, the sterile lights of a hospital room coming into focus. His wife Alice and their daughter Jamie stood by his side. "Where am I?" Cicilian, or rather Leon, asked. "You were hit by a car," Alice said gently. "You've been in a coma." "I'm back?" "Yes," Alice smiled. "You're back. The end, or is it? Thank you for reading The Memory Chronicles, Book 1. Stay tuned for Book 2, Orion, the Time Bandits, and Errol, where a new hero will rise to face an even greater threat.